Good morning, I'm Craig Negrelli. It's Tuesday, December 31st, 2024, and these are your Unbiased Updates. The department that manages the nation's finances hacked. What investigators accuse China of doing to Treasury Department computers, and what information the hackers might have gotten their hands on. Also, funeral arrangements are now set for America's 39th president, when the nation will formally say goodbye to Jimmy Carter.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. These are today's Unbiased Updates.
This morning, the extent of damage from a data breach at the U.S. Department of Treasury is calling a major incident is still being determined. In a letter sent to the Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs on Monday, the Treasury Department said a Chinese-sponsored threat actor was able to gain access to department employees' workstations earlier this month and view unclassified documents maintained by those workers. The letter said hackers gained access through a third-party cybersecurity service called Beyond Trust and override certain department security measures. The department has stopped using Beyond Trust since the cyber attack. The Treasury Department is now working with the FBI and other members of the U.S. intelligence community to fully characterize the incident and determine its full impact. The Treasury Department says it will provide Congress more information in a supplemental report within 30 days. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is denying any Chinese involvement. An arrest warrant is now out for South Korea's embattled president, Yoon Suk Yeol. The Constitutional Court approved the warrant on Tuesday after Yoon reportedly refused to answer the summonses from South Korea's anti-corruption agency. The court previously stripped Yoon of his presidential powers. He's facing impeachment over his short-lived declaration of martial law. The court granted the arrest warrant for Yoon on charges of abuse of authority and orchestrating a rebellion. Yoon is wanted for questioning in multiple investigations, including one over accusations of leading an insurrection, a crime punishable by life imprisonment or even the death penalty in South Korea. President Biden has spoken with South Korea's interim president in recent weeks and expressed America's commitment to democracy there, where America has roughly 28,000 troops stationed as a deterrence to communist North Korea. Details are now public about the nation's plans to pay tribute to the late former President Jimmy Carter, who died Sunday at 100 years old. While President Biden has declared next Thursday, January 9th, a national day of mourning, tomorrow, the first day of the new year, will begin an 8-day mourning period. The Carter family will gather in the former president's hometown of Plains, Georgia, over the next few days. On Saturday, January 4th, the state funeral will be held. It starts at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time with a motorcade from Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia, and will travel through Plains, taking a brief pause at 10:50 a.m. where the National Park Service will ring the historic bell on the Carter family farm 39 times in honor of the late 39th president. At 10:55, the late former president will begin his final journey to Atlanta. Then at 3 p.m., the motorcade will stop at the Georgia State Capitol for a moment of silence led by Governor Brian Kemp, and then go on to the Carter Presidential Center for a service at 4 p.m. Jimmy Carter will then lie in repose from 7 p.m. on Sunday, January 5th until 6 a.m. Tuesday the 7th for the public to pay their respects. He will then be taken to Washington, D.C., where Congress will pay its tributes in a private ceremony. Then he will lie in state for the public to pay their respects until Thursday, January 9th, when Carter will be taken home to Georgia for a private family funeral service and internment. President Biden is expected to deliver a eulogy at the funeral. 5 people have now been charged in connection with the death of former One Direction singer Liam Payne in Argentina. That's according to the country's prosecutor's office. Payne died when he fell from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires in October after police say he consumed various substances, including drugs and alcohol. A friend of Payne, the hotel manager, and its head of reception are all accused of negligent homicide in connection with the singer's death. If convicted, they face a maximum of 5 years in prison. 2 other hotel employees are charged with selling Payne drugs. They face up to 15 years in prison. The Federal Aviation Administration has launched an investigation after a private jet carrying the Gonzaga University men's basketball team nearly crossed a runway as another flight was taking off from Los Angeles International Airport on Friday. The jet, operated by Key Lime Air, had to be ordered by air traffic controllers to stop as a Delta flight took off. Nobody was hurt. Gonzaga was in Los Angeles for its game against UCLA on Saturday. Finally this morning, it's the final day of 2024, which means in just hours, more than 1 million people are expected to gather in Times Square to ring in the new year in the Big Apple. The New York City Police Department is beefing up security as revelers welcome in 2025. The NYPD says while there have not been any specific credible threats to the Times Square celebration, the department has been operating in a heightened threat environment since October 7th, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel. As for the big celebration, fans braving the possible wet weather and the many others watching at home will be able to see musical acts such as Carrie Underwood, Blake Shelton, and the Jonas Brothers. Then the big moment, the countdown as the New Year's Eve ball drops at midnight. Those are your unbiased updates for this Tuesday. We're off tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, Happy New Year. I'm Craig DeGrelli.